What's up, everybody? Vince, and today we're going to be talking about some of the latest news in the UFC's light heavyweight division. It looks like we're going to see the former UFC champion Magomed Ankalaev take on Roundtree in the main event of UFC Abu Dhabi within the next few months. This is a big matchup in this division. It's going to be a really technical match, I believe, when you look at the two, both of their styles and how they might clash. With Roundtree's leg kicks, Muay Thai versus Magomed's very methodical and low risk boxing approach. Definitely think this is going to be a great main event. And we're also going to just talk about where this leaves the rest of the division, in particular the top five, and try to get an idea of maybe what the UFC is planning for this division over the course of the next year. Obviously, we know Carlos is recovering from his torn ACL that he sustained in the Yuri Prochazka match. It doesn't look like he's going to be stripped of the title. It doesn't look like he has any plans on vacating the title. I think we would have heard that by now if that was the UFC's plan. It looks like Carlos is just going to wait it out. He got surgery pretty early after the injury, which is always a good thing. You want to make sure that you could get in right away, get the surgical repair done, then get right to the physical therapy. So definitely good on him and his team's part. And we should see him back realistically within 6 to 9 months based on how his therapy goes. And, that could be a whole nother video where we might talk about his injury and what to expect from him and, approximately when he'll be training again, when he's going to be back. That could be a whole nother video. But as for this division now, that's going to leave a lot of time to kind of decide who's the true number one contender of this weight class now. Because, if we're not going to see him for another year, that's going to leave us a lot of time to get these matchups in. So with Ankalaev versus Roundtree Jr. being the first one, that's, to me, that's the first step of many matchups that we'll be seeing in this top five. So as where that leaves fighters like Yuri Prochazka, Paulo Costa, I think that pretty much confirms that we could see Prochazka versus Costa next. Obviously, we still have to see, if Khamzat's moving up too, where that's going to put him in the rankings in this division. For the sake of this video, we'll just kind of exclude Chimaev from the discussion just because we don't know officially what he's planning on doing yet. As for a potential Prochazka versus Costa fight, I think it's the only fight that really makes sense that high in the rankings in the division. I know Pereira is still ranked at 205, but realistically we won't be seeing him fight there again unless things don't go as planned at the UFC White House event. And so if he just stays up at heavyweight and, hopefully if his plan goes through, he would want to fight Tom Aspinall right after if he could get the win against Cyril Gane. So realistically, that spot's going to be freed up, which means that that only leaves, Ankalaev, Prochazka, Paulo Costa will be in there probably at the bottom of the top five. Jan Blachowicz is still in the mix, though he is injured. So to me, the only matchup that makes sense would be Prochazka versus Costa realistically within the next few months. And I believe that the winner of each of those fights, should probably fight each other. And then by that time, all those matchups conclude. We know that light heavyweights, these are, big athletic guys, right? So they're going to land a lot of damage on each other. These are all strikers too, predominantly. I don't think we'll see too much grappling in any of these matchups. So these guys are going to need a lot of recovery time. So realistically, we could see this fight plus that potential matchup, winner fight faces each other for the number one contender spot. Now, as for how I think this fight is going to go between Ankalaev and Roundtree Jr., just based off of their past few fights, their styles, what styles they each have struggled with in the past, what styles they've been successful against, I do think that Ankalaev has a good chance of pulling ahead, though I wouldn't be surprised if Roundtree could really land his lower leg kicks, use his Muay Thai, and then potentially explode on Ankalaev when the opportunity presents itself. And we've seen that Roundtree is definitely capable of doing that. There's been plenty of matchups, especially recently, where his Muay Thai has gotten so dialed in, where he kind of just, you see him kind of plodding, waiting, landing his leg kicks. And then once there's an opportunity, you see him just jump in. We've seen that all the way back to when he was on the Ultimate Fighter series, when he was landing body kicks on that one fighter. Sorry, I'm forgetting his name. Had the guy hurt on the ground, just landing pretty much soccer kicks to the guy's body. Just a brutal finish. He had a similar finish against Anthony Smith, dropped Anthony, and then immediately, at that matchup, actually, he didn't even need to follow up. That's how powerful the punch he landed was. I believe it was a straight left. So Roundtree definitely has the power to stop any fight he's in the matter of an instant if he has the right opening. But based on their previous matchups, in particular for Roundtree, that Anthony Smith fight, though he was able to pull ahead, Anthony actually was doing a pretty good job of keeping him at range with like the jabs, the straight right hands. He landed a lot of jabs in that matchup, actually, despite the fact that Roundtree is a southpaw. Usually you won't see, the jabs so effective in orthodox versus southpaw. But he was able to make it work against Roundtree, and I think that could be significant in this fight, especially considering both of these guys are southpaws. That jab is going to be open. All of those back leg and backhand power shots aren't going to be as available, and I do think this is going to play a significant factor in this fight. Especially Roundtree used to being a southpaw, fighting orthodox fighters. If you look at all of his past few opponents, Yuri Prochazka, and it's true that Yuri will switch, but most of the time Yuri's going to predominantly, especially when he's pressing, he's going to usually press in his orthodox stance. And his fight against Jamal, well, I guess I'm incorrect then. I mean, Jamal Hill was a southpaw, and Roundtree did great in that matchup. I just think this is a different kind of fight. Usually when Jamal's pressing, he does have great kicks, but he does rely a lot on the hands. Jamal was very heavy on his front leg, and I do think Ankalaev does a little bit better at staying a little bit lighter on his front foot. But then again, the Jan Blachowicz fight wasn't exactly evidence of that either. But just based on the difference in styles, it's tough to say at the end of the day. I think in one scenario, you could see Ankalaev just keep Roundtree at range with jabs and straight left hands, potentially, going to the body every once in a while, trying to keep pressure on him, keep him cornered on the fence like he likes to do. Did it against Rakic, did it against, several opponents, did it against Alex Pereira in the first fight. And you could see Roundtree potentially get overwhelmed by that jab. We saw that in the Alex Pereira fight. As the fight got later, more and more jabs were landing. It was affecting Roundtree's vision. I believe he had a broken nose in that matchup too. And I do think that that's a perfect tie into another important factor in this fight, which is how much damage have both of these guys taken in their careers, and will this have an impact on their fight? I believe it definitely could. Roundtree in this last Prochazka fight, and pretty much anyone that fights Prochazka that is in a longer striking matchup with him past 2 rounds is going to sustain a lot of damage. He has a very unorthodox style, and a lot of times when you just don't have the right, training partners to replicate it, it's something that's always catches guys off guard once they're in there. And when Yuri is on point and his head movement is there and he's in that flow state that he talks about a lot, he's a very tough man to beat. So for Roundtree in that match, he took a lot of damage. That wasn't, and realistically, another knockout loss. He wasn't out cold though, but he did drop. And not too, long ago before that, he did have the Jamal Hill win, but he also had the then TKO loss to Alex Pereira too. So for this matchup, if he does start to get hit with a lot of jabs, will the eyes just, kind of swell up? Can the nose get broken again? It's hard to say, but I do think it plays a factor in this matchup. This matchup could go two different ways, just based on the evidence of both of these guys' history. It could go in the direction of Roundtree just landing leg kicks at will, like Jan Blachowicz did against Ankalaev a few years ago, and then eventually going to the body with his, he's got some good body hooks as well as body kicks as well. Great Muay Thai, so you could eventually see that play a factor in the fight and see him take out Ankalaev as the fight gets later. Or you could see Ankalaev just land jabs at will, keep Roundtree on the back foot, and most likely get a decision win. Keep the risk low like he tends to do, which is definitely not a criticism of him at all, but just something that's accustomed for his style. And then you could just see either Ankalaev get a late finish or just get a decision win. So that would be my preliminary guesses of how the fight will go. We will do a breakdown of this fight as it gets closer, just going over little details of each of these guys' fights and how they've looked more recently. And we will be talking more about some of the other potential matchups at 205. As for the rest of the top five there, I know we didn't speak much on Jan Blachowicz or Jamal Hill. Jamal's out right now. I don't know if he's injured or what his plan is for his next fight. So we'll see. And Jan Blachowicz has just torn his meniscus a few weeks ago when he was set to rematch Bogdan Guskov. So really, there's about 4 contenders to really keep an eye on right now in this light heavyweight division. But yeah, let me know what you all think of this fight. What did you think of the video? Did we hit the right points, or did you feel like anything was missed in this video that maybe we could discuss later on in that breakdown video of Roundtree versus Ankalaev at Abu Dhabi? But if you did like the video, leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, see you later.